This is Roxanne.
Hi, Miss Roxanne. This is Mashawna again.
Yes.
Okay. They took the baby. They called the father or whatever. They came with the same court order where they gave Jasmine when she was in court and talking about they don't have to get no court order. We said asking them for the court order. We got it. We said so for the record, y'all ain't gotta have no court order. They talking about no. They came with the papers that they served Jasmine with when she was in jail.
Okay, that was an illegal transport, a child abduction. It was literally a color of law kidnapping. Let me append this to the video. I was just getting ready to put up our last audio with the video slides, and let me put this audio with that so that everybody can see that. All right. Go to www.higherlyrics.org and see your case study page, and you can see the slide that I'm putting the audio with, okay?
www.higherlyrics.org.
Yeah, that's my website. You have a case study page there now that I opened up that's going to be all about your case history and everything you're doing. So the notice is there, and now you have your case study slide for LaMoniye, for LaMoniye's color of law child abduction by Arkansas DHS, and now a video is going up with this audio. All right, so let me append the audio to our last audio, and I'm also going to put up the audio of Teresa Bunche, where she spits a nonsensical rap about kidnap for profit scheme. She claims she doesn't know anything about what happens after the first court hearing, and then she proceeds to talk all about the judges and their prejudice, and then she proceeds to talk about DHS, and she decided to give the baby here, and she decided to give the baby there. And then we have Avery Carter, where he conflicts, gives legal advice, and then he says, I don't want to speak on it because I'm not for sure. They're damn near retarded. They're like illiterate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna figure out how to send the footage of today to you also, because I got TJ's video thing, but I'm not sure how to work it, so we're gonna have to figure it out so we can send that to you too.
Yeah, get that, because I could send that on a data. I could put all the videos on an e-discovery disc and actually send it certified mail to the court administrators even before the federal lawsuit. Okay? I think in fact, I think that's what I'm going to do, because it's Friday and they're probably not looking at their faxes or anything like that. Everybody got out of there early. I'm going to certify mail to the court administrators showing their mission statement that they promised fairness and everything and mediation, and let them know that you guys didn't have a chance to do that, you know? So I'm gonna put a disc in there with all the audio on it too, so that they can see how their employees are actually causing them liability in a big lawsuit.
Okay.
All right.
That's what they need. Hold on, really. They can ask us, do we have an attorney?
No, you say we're self-presenting in proper person. We don't have an attorney.
You said pro se.
Yeah, you can say pro se. You can say the court-appointed attorneys that have been appointed to you have been insufficient. You don't want any relationship or association with them. It's a forced commercial transaction. They are insufficient. They don't call you. They don't prepare. They don't respond to your questions, and you have a right to present. The Arkansas Constitution and the U.S. Constitution are very similar, and both of them have that clause. We have a right to petition our courts for redress of grievances on our own behalf. So we are intervener plaintiffs. We're complaining about you now. We're intervening, right? That's our status, and we're pro se. We're not going to trust a conflict of interest employee of the court, who's our adverse party, to represent our claims accurately. We are pro se, and we insist upon our right to be pro se.
Okay.
If that's not unless you have an attorney down there that you trust.
No, we don't have an attorney.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, we're not going to... See, our whole purpose for doing this in the state level was to build that block that we need in the federal lawsuit to show the federal court why they have exclusive jurisdiction because of the legal malpractices going on in the state court. We needed something in the state court to... We already had plenty on Nikeito, but we needed something about LaMoniye to show the federal court that the state court had a chance to do the right thing and practice its own guidelines, policies, and procedures, and they legally malpracticed it. Okay?
They wouldn't give us a court order. They bought some bonus stuff that they served Jansen. So maybe Jansen can go up there Monday and request that court order from Tuesday. So she got a right to have it.
There's no court order. He told you we don't need no court order. We're gonna call that's abuse of police officers. When you tell them, or you order the police officers to do something under color of law, a felony, and you don't have a court with the state seals authority. They did not act with the court's authority. They acted on their own color of law authority. Deprivation. That was a child abduction. That's how you prove a kidnap. You prove illegal transport. It was not under the authority of the judge. There was no judge that signed the order, so you don't run around asking them to create an order now. What you do is you report and record, which we're going to record in video first. It's going to be a piece of e-discovery on a data disk that's going to go to the administrative officers first, just as a courtesy, but it's going to be our centerpiece of several pieces of video and audio and case study marketing panels to attract those globally practicing class action law firms.
He sure said, if y'all open his door, y'all gonna go to jail. He gonna say somebody's gonna go to jail today. Yeah, he told us. So we wouldn't let him in the house. We wouldn't let him in.
Yeah. Did they force entry?
No, but he said they was going to.
Yeah. And they would have.
Somebody going to jail today.
They would have, because what we're finding out is it's so epidemic, it's so rampant and unchecked. It is literally a public safety emergency. Gangsters are running Arkansas, particularly Pulaski County. You understand? There's been nothing like this since the Little Rock, Arkansas, when President Kennedy had to send in the federal troops to enforce federal laws. Arkansas DHS is taking money from the federal republic, the United States of America, for family preservation, but they're functioning as a Confederate slavery before we were a republic. Do you understand? They're saying we don't have to abide by federal laws. Just give us the money and we're going to tell you you don't have no grandparents' rights. You don't have no standing. You have nothing, which is all the more reason why we're going to follow Leon Kozio's lead, a constitutional lawyer up in New York, who filed for archaic systems and practices. You need new laws in Arkansas. This case is going to bring legislation. It's going to bring bills out that give grandparents first standing. What if Jasmine died? What if children, adult parents died in accidents? What do you mean my child has to go anywhere but with me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We need a law. You're functioning like the Confederacy before we had a union, but you're taking the union's money.
Well, I think it's a testimony for slavery was happening. Yes, that fat man, he talking about he ain't taking no kids. He gives them money and they'll get the kids momentarily. No, you won't. You gonna get them kids today. We had to force them to take them to other foster teams. We sure did. They didn't want
because they want the money. That the lowest person on the totem pole is the slave overseer. They want to use you as the block, the post to funnel those kids through, to transport them through for billing of all type of services. You're good enough to use, but you're not good enough to raise your own child. You have they want to sell your child on the block. They're obliterating the family unit. You heard about the nuclear family? They're obliterating it. It's like you. In other words, you're a slave. You don't have a right to what happens to your kids. We'll sell them down the river. We'll come in and rape your woman when we get ready. We'll father the kids. We'll beat the kids. We'll do whatever we want. We'll hang you in front of your kids. They're functioning like the Confederacy before we were a union, but they're taking the U.S. The United States federal funding for Children's Protective Services and Family Preservation Guidelines, and they're saying they don't have to abide by the federal laws. Not since Little Rock, Arkansas integration into schools, when George Wallace had to have the federal troops move him out of the doorway. Has there been such a landmark move? Y'all are a special family with the courage to do something different, and others are going to follow your lead. All my case captions are the people of Arkansas versus Arkansas DHS Kidnap for Profit Public Safety Emergency. It's literally a safety emergency.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
We want to thank you for that document you sent here today. That document, along with the other one that we have on the door, it enforces the fact that they didn't knock our door down and beat us and shoot us and stuff like that. If it hadn't been from that, they would do that to you.
The power of the notice is just that you're letting them know there's what you're doing, you're not doing in darkness anymore. There's literally a witness. Somebody is qualified as a witness to tell a federal court and criminal justice and litigators, y'all need to focus on what's going on down here. They can't do it in the dark anymore. That's why they were very careful. They didn't want to be filmed, and they were very careful about not knocking your door in. There were civilians in there, elderly people, and now the local police, you have to tell me who that precinct is and how to identify them. They have to be added as a defendant in the federal lawsuit, just like in Minnesota. The sheriff's department busted in, forced entry, held guns on the people in the house, even a 6-month-old baby the young mother was holding. So they were a defendant. Huh?
They walked over the tear gas here on us, and that's not showing any concern for that 1-year-old baby. She just had her ear yesterday.
Yeah, as soon as you call heavy artillery, military style, like SWAT, you're endangering civilians. First of all, nobody's in there holding a hostage. They have yet to prove or even allege imminent danger. There was no imminent danger to the child. They had no reason to remove that child. There was no emergency. The only reason was to try to cover up their crimes that were noticed to the court administrators. The court administrators were noticed today, but because it's Friday, I don't think they've seen the facts yet. The notice that you want to use the mediation services in alignment with their mission statement, where they say everybody is supposed to be treated with equality and fairness. We have to hold them on their mission statement. So when we go into the federal court, which has got to be as soon as possible now, we got to be able to tell the federal court, look, they're saying one thing, and their practice is adverse to that. They are legally malpracticing their own policies and procedures and their state laws and, of course, federal law.
Another thing, Ms. Greg, we were recording everything, and the police officer knew it. That's the reason I want to get this on another SD chip before, something happened to that recording.
Yeah, get that. Yeah, make a copy. Get that to me right away. I'll spend all night. I got 3 videos I'm going to put up. Teresa, our conversation here, and these are going up with case study panels. You're going to see the pictures that you sent me of LaMoniye. I grabbed them off of the video of her being healthy, and then I got the pictures of Nikeito, different case study panels which say why we need national Amber Alerts for children who become missing and exploited as a result of DHS Kidnap and juvenile court kidnap for profit corruption. There's no reason in the world why we should have to wait. There's an application to get a national Amber Alert, and item number 4 says, has local law enforcement recognized the abduction? And most people can't get past that because they don't know how to detail the legal malpractice that occurred and the crimes that occurred, and why law enforcement says, well, they're not really missing. They're in the custody of local DHS and CPS. But we are showing through the United States Department Action Committee, there's a link you can go through and have an agent assigned where you show them all the evidence that you just showed the court that this was a color of law child abduction, and the child, no one knows the whereabouts of the child, the health, safety of the child, and they do qualify for a national Amber Alert.
All right, then. Well, we're ready. We're ready to take the next step.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. And listen, now you really got to guard your spirits and your psyche, because this is a real deep, dark dark thing. It's a hideous thing, right? And when you punch a rabid dog in the nose, they come back at you just like they came back at you irrationally, trying to rip your throat out. But they want to break your spirit. Don't let them break your spirit. Stay close to the God of your understanding. Stay in prayer, whatever way you worship, and keep your principles about you. All right? You don't have to sell nothing off. And when you're right, nobody can be against you. Okay?
Okay.
But I think what y'all doing differently with Nikeito, by y'all giving them that notice, the money's going to come back sooner than later. She's not going to be away as long as Nikeito. And if she is, it's going to be so much global law firms involved in this, in a class action. They're going to see the dollar signs, and they're going to come in there, and it's going to be newsworthy.
Okay.
All right.
All right. They probably won't see it be newsworthy until we actually file and ask for that $100 million. They probably ain't going to pay attention, you know.
Yeah, we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down. We're going to start today. $100,000 a day personal injury for LaMoniye's remedial healing, right? And from April 1st, $100,000 a day for Nikeito being missing and exploited, and his adoption status unknown and unreported, right? We don't even know if he's been adopted. We don't know if he's alive or dead. We have to do a habeas corpus demanding them to produce the live, healthy body of Nikeito before a federal judge, right? And so we're going to do that. And then there's going to be your costs, all your costs and damages, the money that you lost by not having the foster children there, all the money that you lost in paying me, everything you paid for, all your expenses. That's called costs. Then there's damages, which are going to be at least $20 million. Why? Because it's on behalf of other Arkansans who are similarly situated, who may not be able to sue, but you're going to start a crime victim compensation fund. People who have suffered damages and need remedial healing and therapeutic services and reunification services will get money from this fund. You're making it a public interest. This is about public interest. This is not about some disgruntled people because things didn't go their way. It's about the public integrity, the public interest, and something has to be done, just like Kennedy had to send the federal troops in there to get a maniac, Wallace racist out of the doorway, so that the federal law that said everybody goes to the same schools could be enforced in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah. But how close are we to getting ready to file?
Well, if nothing else happens on the state court level, 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks. That I can show you actually, I think it's going to be a week after the 2 weeks when I show you the draft, because you're going to come back and say, what about this person? What about that person? And I'm going to come back and say, well, you got to tell me what they did, why to add them. You know what I mean? Then we got to figure out the service of them, because with all the defendants that you have, you don't want your case held up because you got to go run around and personally serve 100 people. So we got to find out the entity, the agency that's, if they're DHS, they get served through the DHS lawyer. If they're the court practitioner, they get served through the court administrative offices. We got to say all that on the case caption, that Federal Rule 4 service of summons is satisfied in care of these entities, these agencies. The police now have to be added. I don't know if it's a sheriff's department or the police, whoever they are, they have to be added as a defendant.
We down here didn't even know what RICO was. Nope.
But yeah, they don't have to know what RICO. They're about to learn what RICO is. They're about to learn that they are a racketeering, influence, corrupt organization. Yeah, see, that's why you're going to stop reacting to their ignorance, and you're going to drive now. You let them react to you. See, what y'all did today, y'all threw down a gauntlet. You threw a blow, and you got that rabid dog to respond and show his true nature. Avery Carter is trying to cover up his BS, but see, y'all got a witness that said in the notice what we got evidence of. We got Avery Carter giving you legal advice, talking about everything, how it's got to be, how it's going to be, and then saying, I don't want to speak on it because I'm not for sure. They contradict themselves constantly. And that Teresa Bunche, she does a nonsensical, spits a rap song about how bad the kidnap for profit injury is. She says, I don't know nothing after the first meeting, but I made decide to give you your child back, and I told my supervisor I decided this and I decided that, and oh, just judge is prejudice, and I wish you would get Judge Warren, but there's not no way of knowing. I don't know who's way of knowing. She actually tells you how prejudiced the judges are. Then she says the decision is up to her, and if it was a traffic ticket, but it's not a traffic ticket, and you don't got no legal standing, which is a lie. I got an attorney motion to dismiss Arkansas DHS petition that says that grandparents have to petition. There's a case, they give the case law where you have to ask the court, because Mashawna keeps saying, can't I get custody? How long that gonna take? 2 years, 3 years? She gotta do some things. She said, no, I want custody. I don't want her to be in foster placement. She doesn't give her accurate legal advice and tell her, well, you have to petition for custody, right, standing. She says, you got no legal right to this child. So basically, let me get this straight. If I'm unfortunate enough to live in Arkansas and my daughter gets killed in a car accident, are you telling me that my grandchildren is just doomed to foster placement? And she just keeps saying, you just lucky you a foster mom. That's why I ain't got no problem leaving her here. On the one hand, it's up to the judges, but on the other hand, it's really up to her. And then she perjures herself. She perjures herself in her affidavit of everything that she said in the meeting.
Did you record your conversation with Ms. Bunche?
I'm telling you, I was producing that into the video first when you guys called. Now she's going to be second. I cut through all the blank spaces and stuff like that, and it start out when their conversation starts. We got 21 minutes of her spitting a nonsensical kidnap for profit rap. She raps. She's a nut.
She told everything about the judges, the attorneys. She talked about Kathleen on call too. And she said if you don't want to get in Judge Branton or Judge James, you want to get in Judge Warren, and you don't want Kathleen on call. And she told all that.
She said, I don't know nothing about what happens, what they do. When you was talking about they trifling down there, why they do this, she said, I don't know nothing about that, what happens after the first court hearing. But then she starts telling about everybody's history and how they function and what they do and how loved she is in so-and-so's court, and she gonna make a decision. I'll decide who gets their kid back, and I told my supervisor I ain't got no problem with her being there because I know her. So on the one hand, who's making a decision? Is it the judge making a decision or you making a decision? She's actually rapping. If you can hear her, her rhythm is fast, it's erratic. She's a liar. She's lying out of two sides of her face. She's talking out of both sides of her face at the same time. And her affidavit proves that because she went in and perjured herself in the affidavit.
Okay, did you say she emailed you today?
Nobody emailed me today.
Oh, I thought you said Teresa emailed you today. Responding back. Okay.
No, they better not. They not. I'm sure their legal department has told them you better shut your mouth and don't speak to no one. Roxanne Greenwich is an adverse party. They would really hang them if they said anything to me. After we done gave them notice that we're coming after you for criminal referrals. We're seeking your arrest.
Okay, so from this day forward, don't say nothing to them.
Yeah, there's nothing they're an adverse party. You shouldn't be asking them for no services, no help, asking them for just reporting what they're doing. Like today, you got some real valuable evidence and video and audio and everything. Get that to me and get your statement written about. Well, I know enough to write it out because you just told me on the phone and I'm recording this. That they did not leave a court order, and a previous call says they don't need no stinking court order. And that they called SWAT and endangered civilians, elderly, and other people in the neighborhood for no reason, except to try to cover up their Avery Carter's racketeering crimes. A child has been abducted under color of law. So that's something to report to the U.S. Marshals. Federal.
Yeah, we dropped all those papers off, so they know. Because they called back and said, "Are you still in DHS?"
Yeah. Not just for money. We're trying to get you locked up. Okay. What part? Don't you understand? You're criminal. Okay. All right. Let me go finish. As soon as I get this stuff up, the better. Start getting used to going to your case study page. Remember, if anything happens and y'all are separated, you don't have eyes and ears, you tell anybody you're talking to, a public defender, anybody, the proof of my innocence is on my case study page at www.higherlyrics.org. And if they say, well, what's the page number? You say, you'll see our names right up there. All right? Look for Arkansas.
We're going to go look now. Okay, so we'll call you if anything else comes back. We're going to get this video to you also.
Okay, yeah, and it's going to grow now real fast because I'm working totally on y'all case now. All right? Everything up there is going to change every day. It's going to grow. All right?
Okay. All right.
God bless. God bless. Bye.
I'm going to go get my baby because I know.